Hello, Blue Jays, and welcome to The Nest, stories about life after Manor College. I am your host, Kelly Peiffer, Vice President of Marketing Communications, and this is the best part of my day. My hope is that this podcast will encourage, inform, and inspire you, making you feel like at Manor College you belong here always. Before we get to today's guest, it's time for a segment I like to call Did You Know?, where we will share some fun facts about Manor College that you may or may not have known. Did you know the story behind the Manor College mascot, Manny the Blue Jay? Manor College has been home to the Fighting Blue Jays since the 1980s, and due to the high volume of blue jay birds that can be found around the woods that are backing up to our campus property. We have Alverthorpe Park and we have Manor Woods, and there's a lot of blue jays in those woods. But Manny, our mascot, was founded in 2017 and created as part of a college-wide rebrand that we did. So Manny was created by the same company that creates a lot of professional sports and athletic mascots. And funny enough, when Manny was shipped out to us, Manny came from Canada, the company sent us the wrong head. So I remember opening this giant bag, this giant red bag, had this big zipper top. I remember I was so excited. We designed this head and we've gone back and forth with colors and fur and all these different details about Manny. And instead of this beautiful blue jay head, in this bag was a Saint Bernard head. At the time, I did not know what team this head was tied to, but I found out it was the Colorado Avalanche, an ice hockey team, and it was Bernie, the Saint Bernard. So, of course, I had to try it on. There might be some footage of me wearing it. And then I shipped it back to the company, back to Canada, and kept waiting for our Manny to arrive. So the day finally came. Manny arrived and was born on campus. We officially debuted him in 2017 at New Student Orientation. We had a mascot training that summer with this incredible person. His name is Dave Raymond. He was the original Philly fanatic, and he really invented like mascots having such personality and character and movement. And he taught us about the values of mascots, how to build a mascot program, how to give your mascot personality, and different tricks and tips for performers. We learned that when you're inside a mascot, you're called a performer and not just like the guy in the mascot. So trying to give that more value and obviously respect, because it is really hard work to be in a mascot costume. So we created a backstory about Manny that we continue to use to this day. Some of Manny's backstory is Manny was an abandoned egg next door in Alverthorpe Park, and some of the sisters of St. Basil were on a walk one day and they found this egg and cared for him and nurtured him and taught this baby blue jay everything that he needs to know, from math to science to Ukrainian language to how to make a free throw. Manny loves to play with our vet tech teaching horses that we have, and he has a really soft spot for Lavender, the pony. At any given moment, Manny can be found on campus, tapping trees for maple syrup, greeting students, dancing, eating chocolate chip cookies from Manny's Market, and cheering on our athletics teams. Manny's favorite color, of course, is Manor Blue. His favorite song is Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake. And it is rumored that Manny has found pieces of thread that Betsy Ross, who used to live on Manor's campus for a short while — I'll have to do a Did You Know about that later — used in her sewing of the flag that he keeps with him. I love Manny. I have a really soft spot for him, as I think he is lovable and fun and charismatic and exactly what a mascot should be. And I hope you do too. Now, I'm honored to welcome today's alumni guest. Her journey started right here in Philadelphia at Saul High School. Our guest path in education is truly inspiring, a testament to dedication and a passion for helping young learners. She pursued her degree in early childhood education, earning an associate's degree from Manor College in 2014. Following her time here, she transferred to Chestnut Hill College, continuing to build on her educational foundation. While at Manor, she was an active member of the campus community, and she credits much of her foundation time to at Manor, specifically to the impact of faculty member Dr. Cherie Crosby-Weeks. Today, she's making a real difference as a special education teacher for students in kindergarten through 6th grade with autism at Mastery Charter. Please join me in welcoming Bridgett Gray Moss. Welcome, Bridgett.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to have you and to hear your story. So, can you start us off by sharing how did you hear about Manor College and why did you choose to attend?
I think I heard about Manor. I was at Community College of Philadelphia, and it was just too busy for me. And I was looking for another 2-year education program, and Manor probably was on the back of a SEPTA bus, or maybe I found it online. But once I found out about it, it was just a better fit for me being in the suburbs versus being in the middle of the city.
That's great. I love that, and I mean, obviously, everyone's different in their journeys, but it's cool that a suburb campus kind of fit you better. Obviously, that's really neat, and obviously, I'm our VP of marketing, so I love hearing that you found us either through our Septibus or our website. Those are both channels that we spend a lot of time and effort to make sure that people can find us in those ways. So it's great that you were able to do that. So take us back. What was being a college student at Manor like for you?
It was amazing, especially from coming from the city, the city to go into the suburbs. It was amazing, and it was really tight knit. So all of the friends I made at Manor in the education program, I'm pretty much still with friends with today. Um, every day was fun. It was never a boring day at Manor, and I felt like I wasn't just a number. Um, if I needed something, it was always somebody I could talk to. I knew all my professors. I could talk to them anytime. It wasn't like I was just a number, and it was like the education program wasn't just textbook. It was more hands on. So,
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear that you're still friends with some of the classmates that you had. I always love to hear that. That's kind of
and
what
it's
college is all about.
yeah, it's pretty cool because when we started, we all just wanted to be teachers, and now it's like we've been to each other weddings. We didn't have kids. People didn't like worked in different schools. We'll keep each other posted, like, on the education world, but it's like all of us kind of grew up and we came in Manor at different ages. So people came straight out of high school. Some people were like already adults. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty
and
cool.
now you got to go through life together, and all that. I absolutely love that. I have the same experience with my own college and my own friends, and they're your best friends. Get to be moms together, and that kind of thing is really powerful. So, I mean, how do you feel that Manor prepared you to then transfer to Chestnut Hill? And kind of what
Uh,
was that transition like?
it was at after I left Manor, I opened up a home daycare. So I was really ready because I took all the skills I learned and everything. I never learned anything at Manor that I didn't need. When I was at different schools, I felt like I'm just taking classes and I'm just taking out loans. I'm just paying. I'm just another number. But everything I took at Manor, I actually needed and I used and I applied. So after Manor, I opened up my home daycare for a couple of years, and then at the start of the pandemic, I went to Chestnut Hill, and it was a good fit for me because Manor was so laid back, and you know your professors, and you're going to use that work. And Chestnut Hill was the same way, but I
Mhm.
always still had like a more special place for Manor
Right.
because like that's where I started, and it was just like my favorite school. I learned so much, but both schools are great for education. I feel like,
So it was a good, like, combination, like, get your
yeah,
foundations at Manor and then move on to
definitely.
Chestnut Hill. So you ran an at-home daycare. How was that?
It
And
was great, especially coming straight out of college. It was great.
how many kids would you have at,
At
like,
one time, I had
once?
6 to 8.
6 to 8. Okay, and
Yeah,
what ages?
early childhood. So it was like I just had got my degree from early childhood education, um, and then that's when I opened up the daycare. So I didn't go straight into my bachelor's program, and at the time, Manor didn't
Right.
have the 4-year program,
Right,
but it
right,
was
right.
great.
Okay, well, that's cool, and I think a lot of students are attracted to I mean, obviously, at Manor, we have 2-year degrees and 4-year degrees, but I think a lot of students, they do like the 2-year because they can, like, get something that's, like, tangible and in a short amount of time and then apply it. So it's really cool to hear that, like, you got a 2-year degree, you applied it right away, started
Right
a
away.
home daycare. kind of reassessed and saw yourself okay, and then so what made you wanna go into get a bachelor's?
At that time, I was closing the home daycare, and
Mhm.
I was working, and I was like, right now everything is going online, so it's the best time to go back to school.
Mm. Right,
So
right.
it was like the pandemic; a lot of people made a lot of changes, so it was the best time to go to
For
school.
sure, for sure. So did you get certified?
I
What's
did
your certifications?
in special education,
Nice, nice.
but because I went to Manor first, um, I was so used to it being a small classroom, everybody talking and being so comfortable that when I went to Chestnut Hill, I was able to participate and talk so much in class and share. And if anybody else was sharing a lot, it was like you kind of knew they were from Manor too, and you would connect the dots. Like, hey, did you go there? Because we came from Manor with so much hands-on experience, and like we had the opportunity to always share. So we were never quiet in class in Chestnut Hill.
That's funny, it's funny. You can, like, pinpoint, like, "Oh, you must be from Manor because,
Yeah.
you're kinda acting similar." That's pretty cool, like a signature trademark kinda thing.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you start then in teaching in a school setting with special ed, and kinda what's that like?
It's great. I started because right when I left Chestnut Hill, um, when I was in Chestnut Hill, I did student teaching, kindergarten, gen ed, and then the rest of the year I did special ed. But I knew I wanted to be a special ed teacher. And right when I graduated, I worked at Philly School District for a little bit, but then my friend told me about Mastery Charter School, and then that's when I came into Mastery Charter School, and this I've been here ever since for second
Wow.
grade.
For 2nd grade, wow.
Yeah, at
And
first last year I had fifth graders, but now it's second graders.
okay. So where does your passion for special ed come from, and kinda what's the story behind that?
Somebody asked me that this morning. I would say when I used to babysit my younger cousins, and I was a kid myself, so I was between the ages of 10 to 16, starting so young babysitting. And one of my cousins had autism, and he was the only person in our family with autism at the time. He was the only person I knew. But my aunt was working on getting her nursing degree, so I was her babysitter. But she never took it easy on him. So she would leave work on Saturdays and be like, he has to do multiplication, he has to do all of his English homework. Don't do it for him. So I didn't grow up with this mindset of like, you have to like scale back just because you
Mhm.
have a disability. So working with him and pushing him to like do all the work he did, it just like set me up for the rest of my life. So by the time I got older, I just sped came normal, came very normal to me, and I just continued to model how I teach that same way, like not just seeing a student as a disability.
Right, right. They're able to do things just in maybe in a different way,
Yep.
and that's so cool. I'm sure that you sound like you have such a big heart for that, and you kinda grew up with it, so it comes really natural to you.
Yeah, it was pretty normal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing what you do. I know it's not hard, and I mean, I know it's not easy, and I really appreciate kind of just the love that you give to those students. I'm sure that you're well loved, especially with 2nd grade. What a sweet age, that is.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about when you reflect back and think about like where you are now, like you've been graduated for almost 10 years now from Manor, for a little bit more than 10 years. Um, any reflections that come to mind, or any things that come to mind that you're like, wow, I'm really glad I did this because I can see where it led, or any just kind of reflections?
I'm extremely glad that I went to Manor because I feel like the way I teach is still lessons I learned from Dr. Crosby, and just being in that atmosphere. And then it was like when I was at Manor, I never wanted to slack off. I didn't even have room to slack off because you get to know everybody and your professors want the best for you. So every semester I was getting like straight A's and great grades. So when I look back, I'm like, and if I drive by the school, I'm pretty still proud of myself.
Oh, that's great. That's great to see, to think back like where you were and where you
Hmm.
are, and kind of make that connection. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty special. And I think that's something that a lot of our students today still resonate with, and are going through, and they don't know where they're going to go in the end, but they are hoping to obviously kind of get there, and be able to say that Manor was their foundation. Are
Hmm.
you a first generation college student?
I am.
Yeah, what does that
Yeah.
mean to you? And kind of explain kind of what that, because that's a whole nother thing too, and we have a lot of
Um,
our students are.
it's pretty cool because my grandparents, they worked really really hard, and my parents worked really hard, and I didn't really reflect on how hard they worked until I just recently became a parent, like in a year. But it's great because they they really push me, and they always want me to continue to go to school, so it's good. And then it's like I have a niece, she's at Chestnut Hill, so it's kind of like I can like tell her like, you I can't tell her, but I can encourage her to do stuff, and I can say, well, I did it and I did it this way, and you know I believe in you, and if it gets hard, just let me see your grades, let me see where you at, what's your study schedule. So I feel like being, a first generation, it can trigger down to different generations to come to like help out and stuff. So it makes my parents pretty happy. So,
Right, you're like the catalyst to like, okay, now because I did it, like your niece can do it. She's seen
yeah.
someone do it,
Hmm.
and she has an example. You know, I think that's so powerful to see in your own family. You know, it might sound cheesy, but like you really are changing your family tree, and it's
Yeah.
really cool that you were the first one to do it. And what a great example you're setting for, your children and your family, and also
Hmm.
it's incredible for your parents to see and rewarding for them to know that, like, my daughter did that, and as a parent, you want the best for your kids, so that's
Yeah.
totally a reflection on them as well.
Hmm.
So, Bridget, as we are kinda closing up here, what advice would you give to current Manor students who are kind of in the thick of their semester, maybe not feeling, high energy, and they're kind of it's hard being a college student. What advice would you give them
I
to keep
would
them
say
motivated?
I will say don't take your schoolwork serious, but don't take life as serious. Meaning, don't be hard on yourself and thinking you have to have it all figured out, because it will come. Just focus on getting good grades and self care, and also don't be scared to meet people, network with people, go out in the field. So when you have to get your hours in, don't just think I have to get my hours in because my major says I have to get my hours in. No, make sure you meet the principal or managers, supervisors, other people that work there. Get you some little cards made up if you have to. Make you a vision board. Make you a study schedule. But don't beat yourself up thinking that you have to have life figured out. Actually, enjoy yourself while you're at Manor, and network, and understand that you're working towards something really like special that you're going to apply in life.
Yeah, so kinda like be in the moment, enjoy,
Hmm.
work hard, but, don't take it too seriously
Don't
because
take it too serious.
right,
Just
it
make
goes
sure
fast, right?
it does, and build relationships with people, because those relationships are going to get you, through some tough times to come. You might think, oh, college is so hard right now, finals is so hard right now, but no, when you get out in the work field, you're going to need people that you met at Manor, teachers, professors, classmates, peers, to get you through the tough days, and or also help network, like help with jobs and help grow you as an educator or whatever your major is.
Yeah, that's great, I love that so much, and I think it's so true, like, don't take yourself too seriously, but also don't slack off, like,
So
um,
take in self care.
yeah, that's really important. Well, Bridget, thank you so much for being with us today, I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope our
No problem.
listeners have as well. A special thank you to Bridget for joining me today in our episode. Thank you to all of you for tuning in. If you like what you heard, listen and subscribe on Spotify or YouTube. Stay up to date with all new episodes by following Manor College on Instagram at Manor College. And that's a wrap on another episode of The Nest, Stories about Life After Manor College. Remember, Blue Jays, you belong here always.